Hello, I'm Will Burns, your host of the Ideasicle podcast, which this time is being hosted by my friends at Forbes.com. Thank you very much to Forbes. You can subscribe to the Ideasicle podcast, however, on iTunes. We've had some incredible people on, from Sir Ken Robinson to David Lubars to Vivian Rosenthal and many others, Jonathan Cood, who you may have seen recently. And we're going to continue that tradition today with Tracy Wong from WDCW agency and contestant on AMC's The Pitch. So Tracy, welcome.
Thank you, Will. Good to be here.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you. You must have been breathing a huge sigh of relief now that the show is over. You can kind of sit back and maybe relax a little bit and enjoy the afterglow.
I guess the official season premiere is April 30th. That was supposedly a sneak peek. So we got one more run at it.
That wasn't the whole show?
Well, it was the whole show, but they're rerunning it again. They're running episodes back to back, episodes 1 and 2. So we get one more run at it.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, if we could, I'd like to just start where I sort of left off in my article. And actually, you talked about this to a great degree in the Ad Age article that you wrote. What was it about this show how did you go through the thought process of deciding whether or not to even be on The Pitch?
I think there was a lot of hand-wringing because I think everyone fears how they don't have control over the edit. I don't think we really had anything to hide. I think, as you pointed out in your article, I think everybody pretends they have some kind of mysterious, mystical, magical process. Maybe David Lubars does, but most of us normal human beings don't necessarily have that. So
we thought to hear that.
Yeah, no, but it's one of those things where we said, you know what? Let's live a little. This could be an exciting opportunity. So why not?
Yeah, and are you glad you did?
We are glad we did. We are glad. It was a fun process, and what I like was the fact that, America could see, even if it was truncated and short, America could see the work that we presented. And I think even when you're on the losing end of it, this was kind of an interesting opportunity because people could see what we pitched. And what I also enjoy is that everybody can react and respond to the two different agencies and creative ideas. It's bringing it into the social conversation, which is very interesting.
Yeah. No kidding. I mean, it's really lit up the ad community. I mean, we're the most incestuous, bitchy, ranting group of babies
cynical,
that ever,
sarcastic.
Yeah, cynical.
Yeah, exactly.
That ever lived. So to see two agencies, I can only think, and I mean, I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I can only think that some of the negative vibes that have been out there are due to jealousy. Quite frankly, that they either turned it down or didn't get the opportunity in the first place. Because I think it was great that you did it. I think it's great that McKinney did it. It's great exposure. And if you've got, like you said, if you've got nothing to hide, then what are you worried about?
Right, exactly. And I think, there's 1% of the agencies out there, like the White and Kennedys or even the Dave Lubers. They do not need the exposure, but the other agencies do. I mean. And I think we were really pleased when we heard that we were competing against McKinney because these guys are one of the most established independent shops. I mean, they've been around for a long time, and it's like, wow, these guys are really, really credible. And it's like, this is going to be tough. So this is like the real world. I think it was we really respect them, and we were pleased to be up against them. I think it made us make sure that we brought our A game.
Yeah, no, it seemed that way. Now, how have your current clients reacted to you taking part in this? Were there any issues up front? Did you have to clear it with all of them before you began?
No, and I think for the most part, some of them care. They're amused by it, and we made them the promises that it wouldn't impede in their day-to-day stuff. It was a very short burst, so it was 10 days. And I think our concern was making sure that our clients had privacy and the other staffers could continue with their work in a normal fashion. Everything was fine. So that was really the only concern our clients had, and it was not an issue.
And I think Jonathan echoed some of that too, that even though the cameras were there, they did sort of stay out of your normal business
Right.
way, which is good.
And I think Studio Lambert, the producers, the show, they set really good guidelines up front. Um, they said they would respect our privacy on other accounts, um, and they have done this before, and it really showed. I think we were a little nervous the first few days, but after you get used to the cameras in your face, just like Jonathan said, you get used to it. But they were very unobtrusive. I think a lot of people were concerned, oh my God, they're going to mess everything up. But man, these guys were very stealthful and really good. Good guys.
Oh, that's good. Now, as a new business guy myself, I'm so curious to just hear, how did you approach this project? I mean, most pitches for anybody out there who hasn't been in a pitch can take 3 to 4 months if it's a full-blown, from capabilities to work sessions, et cetera, to the final pitch. So this took a week, right? From the day you were briefed at Subway to the final pitch. How did you strategize, and how did you break out your days in order to satisfy such a ridiculous time frame?
Well, we knew at a certain point in time we had to have ideas on the table to start producing. So we really hit the ground running really hard in terms of trying to do, primary research, interviewing, intercepts, to really get into the mindset of the consumers, because we're talking about a behavior change. So we wanted to make sure that we had enough learning to give us leverage. I think that was the tough part, is to really smash all of the research early on so that we felt like we had good leverage to get the ideas off the ground running in the right way.
So there must have been a good amount of trusting your guts in this. I mean, there really isn't time to start from square one, is there?
No, there's no time. But it's like, I think our account people and our research people did a really good job of helping us focus on the task at hand. It's behavior change. Challenger is a Subway. Subway is a challenger brand in this day part for breakfast. We wanted to make sure we understood the routine of 18 to 24-year-olds at that particular time in the morning. It was the context of the assignment. It's like they're probably either in one of their first jobs, or they're looking for work. It's like they have to get up early. They're not used to this. So how do we wake them out of their slumber? Really understanding their mindset was really, really important to understand the context of what the audience was about. So.
Yeah, well, your creative certainly played that up with the zombie idea, which I thought was great. I thought it had, like you said in the show, I thought it had a lot of legs. The art direction was really cool. It seemed to be, I don't know the Subway brand that well, but it seemed to be within the context of the brand nicely, but targeted to a younger demo.
Mm-hmm. I think, in the other day parts, lunchtime for sure, they're a leadership brand. So I got the sense that, their work is very good and very strong, but this truthfully really steps outside of their bounds. It's really designed to be obnoxious. And it's designed to be challenger. You have to consider sort of the behavioral mountain you're up against. And I think that we said we really have to do what we feel is right for the target. I knew that Tony and the clients would be a little bit uncomfortable because I feel this creative was a little bit out of their comfort zone. Not that they don't do outrageous stuff, but it's different than what they're normally accustomed to.
Yeah, that's clear. And I mean, I couldn't help but thinking as I was watching you present and watching Jonathan present, they would cut away to the client's reactions, but who the hell knows if those were even the reactions to what you were saying at the time. And so, I mean, you even brought this up in your Ad Age article, which was, and I'll just read a bit of it. Our biggest worry is the final edit of the show. We have no control over it. And I noticed that. I know some very forced edits that were clearly not from the reactions of that were happening at that moment. They were throwing this stuff together. What did you think of the final product after seeing it? And were there things that you wished were in there that weren't?
Well, to go back to the reaction shots, to be truthful, now you're taking hundreds of hours of footage and sticking into a 42-minute sausage skin. I have to say that even though some of the edits were maybe a little bit creative, they did reflect what was being said in the room at the time, at least from our side. So it's like we had some presentation early on where junior creative team presented an idea, and we were kind of like had a lot of blank stares. Well, there was some conversation in between, but that, for the most part, was reflective of what happened. And the client's reactions, at least when we were presenting, those were visceral reactions. Those were the reactions that they gave us.
Oh,
so
good. Well, maybe
to me,
I'm making it up.
they were truthful, but they were truncated. So it was like, ooh, I wonder if they did a Stephen Colbert thing. For the time that we were on, they did not. They were truthful. They were truthful in the edit, however shortened.
Now, aside from the obvious chunks of a pitch that were not included, like the strategy, and I talked to Jonathan about this too. I mean, as an ad guy, I would have loved to seen more of that. I would have loved to seen how you approached the problem, and you've described a little bit how you've done that here. Are there any other parts besides that you wish made it into the show? Because here's your opportunity to let us know.
I think McKinney presented 2 ideas. We presented 3 ideas, and they only had time to show 1. And I understand for the sake of storyline, that's what they needed to do. Our campaigns were 3 very different campaigns. What we wanted to do, when you have very little time, sometimes you end up showing more options because you don't have time to focus. We wanted to make sure that we would give them something that felt in their comfort zone, that answered the problem, one that was a little bit different, and then one was sort of on the edge. And I think the Zambies campaign was the one that was on the edge. I understand you can't show all of them, but we did show 3 campaigns. So.
Yeah. It makes me sort of wish that they would create a real documentary of a pitch as opposed to a show that's for entertainment value.
It's funny because I'm not sure how entertaining it would be to anyone else. There's a lot of sitting around and going, oh, what are we going to do?
Yeah. Well, maybe you're right.
For the sake of drama and entertainment, I think the creative process is the most interesting part for the consumers.
That's certainly true. Now, what was it like? I asked Jonathan this too. What was it like presenting to the agency of record? Because I noticed Chad Caulfield was in the room from MMB, who's Subway's agency of record. Was that awkward at all, or was he just another of the evaluators in the room? Well,
he was pretty quiet the whole time, and I think, what was really good is that since they're the agency of record, I feel like I always like to see a very strong relationship between client and AOR, and I really thought it was a sign of trust that they have. Chad, they're very clear to us up front. This is not for the account. This is for a project. And I think it warms my heart when I see that a client wants to reassure an agency of records. They have Chad there, and that's good. He really wasn't there to react per se, but I felt like it was a great sign of respect, and I wish all clients were like that.
Yeah, and he was there to protect his turf. Can't blame him.
Yeah.
So now, what advice would you give other agencies that maybe are being approached by AMC producers to be on a future show, whether to do it or not, or once you're involved in it, how you should approach it?
Well, actually, when we were done, I felt like we had a very positive experience. The Studio Lambert people were terrific. AMC was terrific. They were very upfront. They didn't get in our way. And so, I talked to a few agency principals who were considering going on the program, and they all said the same thing. It's like, well, we don't want to come off like idiots or jerks. And it's like, look, are you idiots or jerks? No, we're not. Then don't worry about it. You don't have control over the edit, but if you are who you are, that's the way it's going to come out. Now, even if it's truncated and you don't have control over the edit, what they have is what they have on footage, and don't worry about it. Be yourselves. So, if you have something to hide, as you and I have both written separately, you probably don't want to go on. If you think that, your magic is going to be revealed, then don't go on. This is not necessarily for every agency.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Samuel Clemens quote, if you never lie, you never have to remember anything. Sort of the inverse of what you're talking about, but whatever.
That's absolutely true. So absolutely true.
Here's I want to give you just a battery of short questions. What did you think of the work of McKinney?
I thought that I thought that the work was very strong, and I liked that wrapper. And I think when we heard that they brought him to the pitch, it was like, oh man, that's a brilliant piece of theater. Not only would it make good entertainment, but that's the kind of thing in a pitch you go, oh man, that really helps build a case for you. So I think we all were like, wow, that was really smart and ingenious. So
yeah, that was. And it was
cool. And it was fun to see them go through their creative process. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of tension. You know, it's like, this is what happens.
It's true.
So I think all of the agency people, me included, enjoy seeing that everybody else it's like therapy for us. We'll all go through the same thing. You know, we're up against a deadline. Now, mind you, this is really a lot shorter, but it's like, there's a lot of stuff on the line. So when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I want to go into this business. Oh wait, I am in this business. So it's fun.
It's very true. Dan Wyden used to say, he used to describe his culture as controlled chaos.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we saw. And I found that to be very real. And the other thing that you and I both, I think, agree on is that it's all about the people. You know,
Yes.
It's not about the fancy pants processes. It's about the people coming up with this stuff. So moving on quickly, because we're almost out of time. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that someday software would be able to come up with ideas. And that didn't get by me. I want to hear where you're coming from on that. You really think that software will come up with ideas someday?
I remember having a conversation with Pat Duty, one of the other principals. It was probably 15 years ago. I said, dude, we're going to get taken over by software someday. And I think it's sort of like, say, maybe desktop publishing. It will be here. Some people will adopt it. Some clients may adopt it, and some may not. But that's the march of technology. You know, it's like having the chess master against the machine. You know, so I do believe it's coming. I do believe it's coming.
I guess we could call it cloud sourcing.
Yes.
Right?
Certain
if it does come.
Right.
Where'd you get the yellow shoes?
Online. I've got a lot. I got a lot of comments about those. It's
Those
like,
were great.
Did you wear those for
color,
those? Yes, they are. Yellow is a very good color. Were they designed to, influence Subway because of Subway colors? No, actually, they're University of Oregon inspired. I'm from Oregon.
The Ducks.
The Ducks. That is correct. The web feed.
I used to live out there. I know them well. And then the last thing, I really appreciated your final comment as you're playing basketball. It was clear that you had not won that pitch, and you said something, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, you don't worry about the outcome, you just let it go. Right. Can you explain that to us as a parting thought here? You know, because that feels very right to me. It feels, you know, you're not blaming each other. You did what you could do, and now it's time to move on. You didn't win.
Well, I just thought that was a brilliant edit on their part, because I said that like before we even, if I think of when the interview was, very early on in our process. But, you know, you'll see advertising people all about winning or losing. And I think that the issue is you have to play your game. It's, again, the John Wooden thing. He never talked about winning or losing. Never. This is one of the winningest coaches in all of sports. Never W's or L's. Always about process, always about practice, always about research. I mean, that's what we do. We have to stick to putting up the best shot possible and then letting it go. Because the decision in our business is going to be a subjective one. It's going to be a political one sometimes. You can't control that. All you can control is your own game. You can't worry about them. You can only worry about yourself. So I believe that when you concentrate on the outcome and winning and losing, you take yourself off your own game.
So I think that's great advice.
You know, I want to make sure that the team is internalizing and focusing on what they can control.
And in some sense, it takes the choking pressure off.
Yes, absolutely. And you come up with your best work when you're relaxed, when you're only concerned about yourselves. If you're distracted, there's no way you can come up with a great idea.
Oh, it's so true. Have you gotten any opportunities out of all this added exposure?
We're starting to get resumes from people.
Resumes? You need business. Who needs resumes?
We'll see. No, it hasn't. Maybe after the premiere, but not as of yet.
Well, good luck to you. I appreciate you coming on the show today, and best of luck to you in the future. You guys have a great thing going on down there. It was nice to see.
Great. Thanks a lot, Will. Appreciate you. Appreciate the time.
You're welcome. Take care.
Okay. Bye.